I went to film school in New York. There was good artistic training, but very poor industry training.
Sure.
So the idea of sort of coming out and going, this is a business, and despite my sort of creative aspirations, the object, as far as anyone who's going to potentially hire me, is to make money. And so I realized that the industry was in Los Angeles, so I moved there a couple weeks after I graduated, and basically spent the next 4 years learning the industry on the ground. So I basically worked for an agent and tried to determine what criteria he used to sign his clients. And I began to sort of try to think of myself as a marketable, commodity. So I spent a year at the agency, then I worked at Paramount Studios for a creative executive, then I worked for a producer named Alan Ladd Jr., who had just won the Oscar for Braveheart at that point. And all along I was sort of writing nocturnally, but really bad scripts, but everything that I wrote I was kind of, learning more and more. So that after 5 years of 4.5 years of doing this, I finally put out feelers and said, I'm now ready to be a professional writer, but I realize that I'm going to have to start on the very ground level, and I want to do it in television. So does anybody know of any jobs, sort of what is the lowest level of a television writer? And it turned out to be a writer's assistant. And I worked on the show called Wasteland. And there you basically sit in the room, you watch the writers sort of break stories and write scripts, and within, I think, about 3 weeks on that show, every single writer, with the exception of one, had been fired. And they were about to shut the show down because they had no scripts to shoot. And I saw this coming about a week before it happened, and I said, maybe if I write a script, no matter how bad it is, they'll shoot it just to stay in production. And it worked. And then finally, I got an agent and found representation. And then the show was quickly canceled, probably my fault. And I was unemployed for a couple months. And then the first meeting that I took was on Nash Bridges, and I met with Carlton and this other guy, John Worth, who was running the show as well. And they made the mistake of hiring me, and that's kind of the beginning.